what do you think was the tell for you that it was time to move on during that, moment where you felt burnt out and you felt it's time for me to do something about this, but everyone is like saying, "No, are you crazy?" And what do you think was sort of the determining factor for you to make that change? All right, Jeff and Ardita, so nice to have you here.
Thank you. Nice to
Thank
be here.
you. Hi, Nada.
Hi. So, Ardita, I know that you and I were talking a little bit and you mentioned what your superpower is, and I'd love it if you share that with us.
Yeah, being a connector, right? So, I in one of the conversations I was having with one of the coaches that I know, we were discussing about so who are you when people ask you who are you, and we're so used to say, oh, I am the role title, right? I'm an engineer, or I'm a business analyst, or I'm a VP, or we so much identify ourselves by what we do at work. Or then there is the other side, or I'm a mother, I'm a father, I'm a brother, a sister, like connections that we have in family around us. And this coach told me, no, 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 what do you bring in the world? So who are you in the world? And I had to think about that. And I concluded that I'm a connector because I have found myself that I find a lot of joy when I connect some people that need something with the people that offer that. I find joy in when I know that someone that needs a little bit of information connects with a person that has a lot of information. So, uh, and then being a coach, having the purpose of helping others, has made this even easier for me because I constantly find myself into helping others by just connecting them with the right person or the right opportunity or the right possibility or the right point of view. Because sometimes it's the point of view that prevents us from seeing something. So yeah, I think that's my superpower, being a connector. I connect.
And that's how we connected. And
Yes.
you ended up connecting me with Jurgen in one of your meetups, which is incredible.
There you go. See, I brought joy in both of you.
What about you, Jeff? What is your superpower?
It's not as easy, I think. So as I mentioned to you earlier, I haven't thought about this very much, but I think one of my superpowers is putting people at ease. And what I mean by that is uh, because of the specific work I do, a lot of times I'm kind of asking people to significantly change the way that they work, change, how they approach their day-to-day activities. And we know that change is really difficult, and people become nervous whenever there's a large amount of change. And so, probably one of the things that I think that I have the ability to do is maybe help people take the edge off of that fear, help them understand that, hey, this is just, we're just going to try some things. We're just going to move through it slowly, gently, and help people feel more comfortable. That goes all the way from some of the larger things all the way down to, more technical things in coding, and such. So I think I just have a way of making people relax and feel comfortable, and that's my superpower.
There's a reason why his nickname is Cheesy. He makes it, he starts easing people from the, hey, I'm cheesy, and everyone starts laughing, and he gets everybody's attention right away.
What an amazing icebreaker to get people to bring their guard down. I find that extremely important when you're in these tense, situations and transformations.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your story, Ardita, in terms of how you got to where you are today. It sounds like it wasn't a straight line, and there were a lot of, turbulence and moving to a new country.
Oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
straight line. I don't know anyone that has a straight line, to be honest, unless your parents left you a lot of things and then you just have to burn the money. but yeah, I'm originally from Albania, and I had started there. I had three things going on. I was professor, I was teaching, I was also working at I was a webmaster, jobs that you never hear anymore, but that at that time it was a job, and it was a good job. And I decided to move to Canada because I thought opportunities, the future didn't look promising for me there. So yeah, I left the country and I came here to Canada all by myself. And I was really lucky to start working at a company that was um, probably the best place I've ever worked so far in my life. Uh, well, after our company. But it was an amazing place. We did everything that we're trying to bring now regarding agile and agile way of working, agile way of thinking, and creating these companies around motivation and purpose. I had it there, and we were not making a big deal out of it. We were just doing it. But then I left that company after 11 years of working there, and after loving it. It came to a point where it was acquired, and the whole culture changed, the whole perspective changed, and I wasn't enjoying it anymore. So I quit. And a lot of people told me, "Are you crazy? You're making good money, you have a good place, you're never going to be fired, you have a good career now in this large organization." And I just didn't enjoy it. But it's probably one of the best things I've done, because that's where my new passion started. Now I wanted to bring that experience into everywhere I worked. So since then, I moved into different places, but then I also changed into becoming a coach. That again, connecting something good that I've seen and bringing it into places that needed that and can benefit from that. And that's how I have moved into many organizations, getting a lot of experience until we agreed to do our own company. And now we have our own uh, business running, and trying to grow, and trying to, do better things, and bigger things. But yeah, it has not been a straight line. It has been a lot of ups and downs. Have been a lot of doubting myself, and a lot of moments that I have felt really proud of what I did. So it's a lot of highs and lows that bring us where we are.
Yeah. And what do you think was the tell for you that it was time to move on during that, moment where you felt burnt out and you felt it's time for me to do something about this, but everyone is like saying, "No, are you crazy?" And what do you think was sort of the determining factor for you to make that change?
I wasn't I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't so I love when I wake up and I have this desire, or I'm going to work and I'm contributing my time toward a purpose and a nice cause, right? A good cause. And I wasn't feeling that anymore. Uh, it felt just going to work just to get the bills paid. And I said, well, I can find another job that pays the bills, but also brings more joy, and probably even opportunities and learning. Uh, I was feeling that I stopped learning, right? Because the culture changed, and we didn't have that sense of learning and experimenting and trying new things. We were just doing things the old way that was not helping me personally, mentally, emotionally, was just paying the bills, and was
It
not
sounds it sounds like it's about being really in touch with yourself and how you feel, and not just going with what your brain is telling you, like this and this needs to be aligned.
yeah, I mean, a lot of us are raised into families that you know you need is expected to have a salary that pays the bills, and is expected for you now to grow the family and grow the kids and all of that, and it feels like you are done with yourself, right? You are done with yourself. Now your purpose is only to grow your kids. And I don't think that is what we need to do, because the self growth never stops. And if you think that you are in a place where you are not learning, you are not growing, you are not enjoying, you are not waking up with a thinking like, what am I going to do today and how am I going to do things better? um, yeah, it's better if you change. But there are some people that are happy with that. I don't know. I'm not going to probably put people at discomfort, but that is me.
And Jeff, your name is so, well renowned in the Agile community. I mean, when Ardita said to me, you're her husband, and I mean, I knew your name, but I haven't really met you personally because I just keep hearing it a lot. And you have this cool, cheesy nickname.
Oh
How
yeah.
did you build your brand, and especially coming from another country?
Yes. Well, I actually never tried to build the brand. It's a strange thing. So, well, let me give the history of my agile experience. So, um, I guess I worked initially in telecom, and I found that I was a really good developer, very good software developer, and I was also a really good mentor. And because of that, the company I was working for tried twice to kind of move me to management because of that mentorship.
And by the way, he never studied computer science,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
So
So anyway, they tried to move me into management. Both times it wasn't successful because I wasn't willing to play the game. I wasn't, it was management there was very political. So I was very disillusioned, not happy at all. A few job switches, jumping around a bit, and I ended up at a company where I was kind of in a director role, but it was one where I was still able to be fairly technical, and my primary focus at that time was to be a good mentor. That was when I discovered Agile, and this was in 1998. Agile ideas were out there. I met a lot of people from a company called ThoughtWorks. We started exploring it. We had at that time, the company I was with went through an acquisition, and we had to bring some people in to help with the acquisition. So I brought ThoughtWorks in, largely because I wanted to learn more from them, and that's sort of how I got an introduction to this. I'm going to have to speed this up a bit, or I'll talk for the next hour. But the long story short is that finished. ThoughtWorks left. My manager, who was the CIO, decided that Agile wasn't the way to go. He shut it down. I left, and I just started going around and helping companies. And next thing, and at that time, and we're talking very early in Agile. At that time, Agile wasn't widely known. You would talk to people, and they had never heard of it. At that time, Agile was synonymous with extreme programming. Now it's more Scrum, but early on it was as extreme programming was what everybody talked about. And so I just started working, doing that and doing it. And next thing you know, I was traveling all across North America doing it, and it just continued to grow. The cheesy nickname was a nickname that I'd had for a while, but what I did find, as Ardita said, is that it would kind of put people at ease a little bit. I'd go into a new team. Hi, everybody, I'm Cheesy. And after they kind of look at each other a little bit and frown and wonder, who's this insane guy that's here with us? That self-deprecating humor kind of helped them, you know, feel more comfortable with me. And I think being there early and also not being satisfied with what people were talking about as agile, and continuously trying to push the envelope, continuously trying to say we can do better, we can grow better, was what it was about. And so I think I'm going to be approaching 20 years of doing this here shortly, and it's been a great 20 years. So and I've learned a lot over the years, and so I guess that's it. chalked up a lot of successes along the way.
That's really amazing. And when I see the pattern and the commonalities between both of your experiences, is it sounds like you don't necessarily have to fit that box of, oh, I need a computer science degree, or I need a specific type of educational background or experience to do these roles. And it was more of small experiments and just refining it as you go along to determine what is the area that brings you that fulfillment in your career.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you think about it, both of us are doing jobs that 10, 15 years ago didn't exist, right? Uh, the term agile coach didn't exist long time ago, and it's only recent, even in certain countries. For example, in Canada, we started having this role being really, really promoted when some of the big, large organizations started using agile. So you never know what you're going to do when you grow up, right? So we go to schools and we learn probably how to learn, and we have a certain knowledge on certain areas, but you never know that you're going to do that all your life. And this is one thing that I think most people in our generation have learned, and they're doing it and they're happy with that. And we need to teach even our kids to change that mindset that like I see stress, for example, on kids that are, oh my God, what university, what should I choose for my university? And or like choose something that you like now. You never know what you're going to do after. So the same thing for jobs, same things for career. So
Yeah, and that's exactly what I advise my clients when it comes to careers is that you can actually create an uncontested market space for yourself, kind of like how you guys did. And you almost built that role and did it unknowingly until it actually, became a role with a labeled title. Rather than trying to compete with all the programmers out there, all the traditional roles, you've actually used your, unique characters and your value propositions and your professional identities and what I call your style, the combination of your skills and the style in which you apply those skills to really shine. And I think that really contributed to your successes.
yeah,
Yeah.
authenticity, right? Authenticity into, hey, I'm cheesy.
And bringing that personality, right? Because we're not robots. We got to bring our personality into our work.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
That's amazing. And so, Jeff, I have a question for you. I get a lot of this from people. Do you necessarily, I think you kind of answered it, do you, going into the role, people who want to become agile coaches or scrum masters, do you necessarily need to have a technical background or have worked on technical implementations in order to be successful?
I'm going to say it depends. Okay. So for me, by far, the most successful agile implementations are ones in which there was a lot of focus on tech. Okay. And so I think in those cases, at the agile coach role, at least, definitely needs to be very aware of those tech practices, the benefits that they would bring to a team, even be able to discuss and defend them, and so otherwise, you're going to get you can have a team become very efficient at producing low quality, that they can't release frequently. But that to me doesn't seem in spirit of agile itself. But agile, scrum, these things are being applied to a lot of areas that aren't technical anymore as well. And so, in fact, I know somebody who worked on a project where these ideas coupled with some lean concepts was being applied toward real estate improvements and things like that. And so, do you need technical background for those? Absolutely not. But the one thing that I will say is I see so many people who are starting as agile coaches who don't really have a lot of experience in this and aren't well studied. They haven't read extensively. They're not familiar with extreme programming, Scrum, Lean, Lean ideas and Lean concepts. and maybe a year or so of experience, how can you help guide people whenever you really haven't experienced it a lot yourself? So I think that's one challenge that we have in this industry, is that everybody sees agile coach as a career path. You start as a scrum master, and then you go from a scrum master to an agile coach. And I've even seen companies who make that a profession, where they have an agile coach 1, an agile coach 2, 3. They kind of try to bring it in and fit it into their own internal role process around that. And that's actually not kind of how it works. If you're going to go out and help people know and understand this, first of all, you need to know and understand it yourself very well. You've had to have practiced it for, in my view, a few years minimum. So I think that's more important almost than the technical side. If you're working with development teams, though, I think the technical knowledge and understanding is essential.
Yeah, uh, it's knowing what good looks like, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, right? um, Sometimes we are coaches, we are put into places where we are trying to bring the team in a better place, but if the coach or if the scrum master doesn't know what good looks like,
Mm-hmm.
how can they help the team get to a better place, right? So, and this is experience, or being in places that have done that, or being in places that did the right thing, and then now trying to bring this way in places that are struggling with that. So either technical or business or anything, it's more having the experience what good looks like, and knowing how to bring that in teams that are challenging.
Mm-hmm. I'll add one more thing to that as well. We talked about the technical side of things, but I find all too often that agile coaches don't really understand the product side of things either. So, I mean, they're content to work with product organizations to create really long 1, 2, 3 year roadmaps, and treat it like a waterfall altogether. Forget the whole learning and inspect and adapt on the product side of things, and the experimentation aspect of it. And so I think that's also equally missing in a lot of what I see out there right now.
Absolutely agree with that. And I think the challenge is when an organization hires an agile coach, they're actually looking for that expert to help them figure out the definition of that role, because they're not even sure how to execute any of this. So it becomes challenging when the job description or the scope of the engagement comes from the organization versus the external consultant coming in and saying, based on my assessment, this is what I feel would work for you. And coming into that role, you got to have that expectation that you're called upon as the doctor, and they're the patient, and you need to do a diagnosis, and they're counting on you to help them with this diagnosis and provide some solutions. It's kind of like when clients come to me and they have this expectation that there's 1, 2, 3, you're gonna be writing my resume, you're gonna be doing my LinkedIn, and you're gonna help me with the interviews and the offer negotiation. I say, sure, maybe that's what they're thinking when they're coming in. Let's just see and have a conversation. And then I realize, oh, that person doesn't even know what they're looking for, what they want. So then
Mhm.
my approach in terms of coaching is probably going to focus on that area where I'm going to assess, if the position is a right fit based on their skill sets and experience, and modify my coaching in that way and help them with promoting themselves through all of their marketing collateral. But I see what you mean. It's very challenging, and people often rely on the organizations, especially coming in from a junior level, to basically create those boundaries and boxes, and that's not how it works. And how do you kind of help people get their foot in the door and position them in those right levels and enable them to get those experiences, though? What do you think would help?
I think, being on an agile team for several years, or being on several agile teams and learning and growing, obviously there is the studying aspect of it. There has been so much written over decades now about lean and lean ideas. Go read James Womack's books, all of them, or whatever, and know and understand the concept and the spirit behind it. Continuously improve it in whatever role you're in. If you're a developer, don't be satisfied with where you are. If you're a business analyst, again, push yourself to grow. Learn how to become more agile. And only when you've taken that journey and you've learned and you've made a lot of mistakes along the way, and you've learned from those mistakes, and only whenever you've really got that wealth of experience are you really ready to go out and help a lot of other people.
Yeah, and you don't have to start right away with the right job, right? Some do, some don't. Um, as long as you have an opportunity to, as you said, to put the foot on the door. Um, for example, I was talking with someone that has been a Scrum Master in outside of Canada, and now she moved to Canada right before COVID, so very hard for her to find a job. And she's like, I'm looking for a job as a Scrum Master. And I said, well, how much of that is here? But also look for, are they only in Toronto? Because Montreal or Vancouver or other areas, if you are new to the country, probably you have also opportunities to move around and to find that opportunity to start on the right career. Or if you are limited to that, then probably you need to change your other parameters around you. So after working a little bit, she started looking even for as a business analyst. She says, I can do that too. So she found a job as a business analyst, but she's still looking for a Scrum Master. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong because you are still, quote unquote, paying the bills, staying active in an organization, learning how a Canadian organization run and the culture and everything. But that doesn't mean that you are not learning something that later on, when you move to a Scrum Master role that she's aiming to get to, you are not going to use this experience, right? Everything that you are doing now, it's a stepping stone for you to bring into your experience when you become a Scrum Master or a coach or whatever your role is, your goal is.
Absolutely. And I tend to tell people not to fixate so much on titles, because the skills and the tasks vary from one. It may be actually the same, but they're called differently. I remember when I worked at a company, my title was a solution owner, and I was like, what the heck is a solution owner? But it turns out it's actually a product manager role. So I tell people, focus more on what it is that you enjoy and the tasks that you like, and also be patient with yourself as you figure this out. You're not going to be an agile coach or a scrum master overnight. You got to maybe through your existing role, look for opportunities where you can do those scrum master and agile coach, tasks until you build your, reputation and your experience, and find places where you can get also support from role models who demonstrate those things.
How many funny titled names have you had?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been at one point a JIRA administrator. I've been business analyst many times. I don't know why. I've been what was it? Analyst, process analyst. They couldn't say coach. They had to find a name, process analyst. Who cares, right? Who cares about that? As long as you are helping the group, as long as you are achieving an improvement, you are bringing an improvement into them. It doesn't matter.
That is hilarious. I think I was watching one of Jürgen Appello's videos, and he said that he lets his employees call themselves whatever they want to call themselves as titles. It made me laugh.
Our company, we had even janitorial services. There are some of our technical coaches that go and they find out that clients have really bad code, right? They really need to clean up. It's a cleaning job. It's not anymore about building. So we have some janitorial services to do.
Oh, I thought you were talking about when you make me take the trash out.
That's at home.
I gotta say, you guys look so cute together and you are hilarious. How do you make this work? You know, you see each other 24 hours a day, you're working in the same company. And I know that during this pandemic, a lot of couples felt like this was a big bit of a shock to their system, having to be in a confined space and share office space and be effective at what they do. And I get people saying, oh my God, my partner, you know, bangs on my door while I'm on a Zoom meeting. I don't even know how to handle this. I don't even know how to have a conversation. Do you guys, I would love to know how you guys make it work.
Do you want to start?
Go ahead, you go.
I think we understand each other's jobs. So that is a benefit that we have. For example, when he says, hey, I'm running a retro, or when I say, hey, I'm on a stand-up, we understand what we mean, right? With the team. So we understand how to when to bang on the door or not, right? And then there are meetings where, for example, he says, I'm mobbing with the team. And in those cases, he probably is on mute and I can go and quickly have like, hey, one question, 2 seconds, leave, right? So we can do those things because I understand that he can be interrupted quickly on mobbing sessions. So that I think is one thing that has helped. But in general, because we are so focused on working with others, making others successful, building teams, I think we use that even with each other.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You know, we both have a lot of experience at conflict resolution with teams and, you know, and with helping teams and people achieve compromises. You know, this is a lot of what we do with our clients, right? And so it applies to us as well. You know, it applies to us. If we feel there is tension, we both tend to gravitate very rapidly toward bringing in one of these conflict resolution techniques or something, and we understand it and we step back, you know, or compromise, you know. So we have kind of two spaces where we can have meetings, actually more if you count like the living room or whatever, you know. And so we're always have that flexibility to move around, you know, if somebody needs the quiet space, you know. And so and we just make it work that way.
Well, I don't know if you know, uh, we have retrospectives as a couple. Every year on our anniversary, while other couples probably go and drink and get and celebrate. Well, we drink too, but while we drink, we have a retrospective
on our marriage,
on our relationship, on our marriage. And we also say, well, what are we going to do next year? What do we have to improve to stay together? Or do we want to stay together? So yeah, those are some techniques that things like that we use in our life. Our daughter is tired of stickies. We have stickies all over.
There's some right over there.
Yeah. So these are things that we have found that they are valuable. So why not use them in our life? We also bring our friends, so it also helps to connect friends with each other, right? So for example, we have had many virtual wine evenings with friends that, for example, he knows them better but I know them, and then we just get together and they bring their wives, so it gets very social and it gets very good, but it also connects us, right? It's very true that couples that work in different organizations, they come home and they probably know each other's colleagues just by names, but it's good to have those opportunities because now he brings me to his world, I bring him to my world, we know each other's friends, we know each other's families and all of that, and that connects and makes the conversations more fluid, more purposeful. I don't know. It just helps, I think.
That's amazing. So it sounds like a lot of it is helping each other understand, you know, when is it okay to interrupt, just understand each other's boundaries, really what it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just taking interest into each other's world. So whether it's your social circles, your work, that creates the, you know, stronger connection, and just setting the expectation, having like a working agreement.
Yeah. For example, I was very interested during summer on another group, exponential organizations, and I really took my heart, and I had a period of time that I was off client, so I invested on my learning, and I started learning more of that, and I started pulling him too, because I'm like, hey, these are interesting ideas that help, and if we work together on these, and if we bring those to life, it's going to help us. For example, Cheesy is working on a project right now about growing vegetables and
Mhm.
herbs inside, and we're using technology and everything, and I was learning some skills on how to build an organization that helps you grow faster. So we were combining now both our uh, pet projects into doing those together, and it just gives another sense to the relationship.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And you guys have made me hungry with all your cheesy and vegetable analogy.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I love the meetups that you run, and they're absolutely amazing. And I think it would really benefit everyone here to know about them. So can you please share a little bit?
Yeah, they started really because I was frustrated, and I had a need. And the need was that it was a group of agile practitioners, coaches, scrum masters. It was a small group of us at that time. And I'm talking 7 years ago. It was a small group of us. And we had some real, I was early in my being a real enterprise coach. I was early in that, but I still understood the value. I still understood how necessary those concepts were. And all the good Canadian coaches were working in US. And I said, why? Why are we helping US? There is so much need here in Canada. So that was one of the ideas how my meetup started. And it started just first of all, coaches helping each other. Are we all saying the same message to organizations that we are building? And then it just started spreading and bringing more practitioners. Some of them knew that didn't know where to start, and some that were more advanced and had gone through some implementations and experiences. So the community grew. The community we started bringing a purpose. Every conversation was not chosen by me, it was chosen by the community. So at the end of the session, we always agree on to, okay, so what do we want the next session to be about? And based on the needs of the community, we chose the session. So uh, because I think we learn, so I put in reality the things that we teach our teams to do, right? So listen to the client, listen to the needs, pivot quickly, and these are the things that I used, and has been very much a community built rather than me. I only really set up the meeting on Meetup at this point, but it is really the community that has driven, and the conversations, and the people that join there. Um, did
You haven't even said what it's called, so people can join if they want.
Oh yeah. See, I forget about marketing because I really think it's a community driven. It is Agile Ontario. And we are celebrating, we're going to celebrate 7 years very soon. So has been one of the oldest meetups in Agile related in Canada.
That's absolutely amazing. How many members do you guys have so far?
Close to 2,000.
Wow, that's
Growing.
incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with who is coming. I'm pretty happy with the conversations that are happening. So, and again, it's gonna go as long as the community is interested.
I am sure that it's going to keep going and going and going. And I still Thank you for organizing that event that I attended where I met, one of my absolute favorite role models, Jürgen Appello.
Great. Yeah, I was really happy to hear you say, "Oh my God, I get a chance to meet you." So those are the moments that I like a lot.
Awesome. And we'd love to also know about your company and the amazing value that you provide and the services that you provide. I think there are a lot of organizations that are seeking incredible agile coaches. And why don't you tell us a little bit more?
So this time, let's start with the name then.
Okay, all right. So,
Industrial Logic Canada.
that's right. So we're part of the more global industrial logic company, which is run by Joshua Karowski. I'm sure a lot of people know him. And Ardita and I run the Canadian business for Industrial Logic. And our focus is kind of a little bit different than most agile consultancies, primarily because we focus on something that we call modern agile, which is a little bit different slant. So, and if, for the listeners who aren't familiar with modern agile, I'll just talk real quickly. There are 4 ideas that are a part of it. First of all, make people awesome. So it's really about helping people grow and become the best that they possibly can,
Achieve their
and
goals.
and learn new things and explore. So make people awesome is the first one. Make safety a prerequisite is the second. And what we've learned, and this has all been a lot of learning since the original Agile Manifesto was written, which is that safety is really, really important for people to grow in their role and for teams to grow and to thrive and to become high performing. So we believe making safety a prerequisite is a really important characteristic. The next one is experiment and learn rapidly, and that applies to a lot of areas, both to our craft and how we work, but also to the products that we're working on. And this brings a lot of the lean startup mindset or lean startup mentality in, where it's really about, learning as quickly as we can and validating, are we on the right path, and continuously pivoting, to make sure that we're going in the right direction. And then the fourth idea is deliver value continuously. And again, this for me goes more and more toward the continuous delivery or idea, but it can take shape in a lot of forms. So based on those values, we tend to work a lot more with organizations that are focused on continuous delivery, delivering software to their end users many times a day, or at least at a minimum once a day. And so there's a fair amount of tech, a fair amount of DevOps. There tends to be a lot of product management, around defining experiments and experimentation and proving hypothesis or invalidating hypothesis around a product, and a lot of people joy focused. And so that's kind of what we bring. And
Yeah.
So I don't know, what do you have to add to that, Ardita?
Yeah. So we try to help organizations to continuous delivery, as Jeff said, but continuous delivery often is understood only as a technical thing. And that's one thing we're trying to change drastically on the thinking of these organizations. Continuous delivery is for business and needs to start with the business and need to be supported by the business, because it benefits the business. So while there is a strong technical element to it, we want to bring the strong product and business thinking into this, because we believe that they need to work well together. And this is why usually we work well, because Cheesy brings the technical side, I bring the business and product side, and you have no idea how often at home we go head to head and toe to toe on conversations about, well, I wish developers did this. Oh, I wish product owners did this. And yeah, it's something we are passionate, we love doing, and we love helping organizations to do it.
I gotta actually show you guys something. So when I joined your event, I still have this. Look at this. This is from your event.
There you
Yeah,
have
I don't
it.
know how long ago this was. I think over a year ago. I still have the sticker. And I
There.
think your concepts are absolutely amazing. And what you said earlier about how, you know, Agile is not something that only applied in, you know, a technical environment. It really is a mindset. And this is something, when I look at these values, these are things that I use when I coach my clients in the career space. Always thinking about unleashing people's awesome. This is the name of my business. And really making them awesome and happy in what they do. And experiment and learn rapidly. I encourage that with people, and don't put yourself in a box, and experiment and slowly do things in iteration when you're figuring out your career. And even as we're working on a career strategy, sometimes we pivot a little bit depending on what goes on and where the person is in the hiring stage and what kind of you know, interviews they get and what if responses they get, and the psychological safety, because a lot of this work we do, people neglect the mindset aspect. 80% of it is all mindset, your confidence and the positivity that you bring into the workplace. um, Things like you can take the same situation and have different tone in how you approach it. Oh, I'm in an organization that has a very low maturity, or oh, I'm in an organization that pretty much is giving me a blank canvas where I can bring in amazing ideas and make a greater impact.
I have so many opportunities.
Exactly. And then the continuous delivery is, don't go through a waterfall approach in terms of figuring out, you know, things. Just do them in little pieces and iterate and have retrospectives and refine as you go along. So really, really amazing way to kind of summarize these values. Absolutely love it. And I still have the sticker on my fridge.
Okay, awesome. We have more stickers. If anybody wants stickers, we can send some.
English and French.
Yes.
That's amazing. You guys do incredible work for the community. And thank you so much for your time and being here and talking about your experience.
Thank you for having us and giving us this opportunity on a Sunday morning to have a coffee with you. It was really nice and an easy conversation. Thank you.
You're welcome.